Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajākacārya Ashtotara Satashishimmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Samstapakacharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, in the matter of questions by King Parikshit, text 18. Nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś cha yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām. Vaishnavis, nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ sa-viśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ of human society, sādhāraṇaḥ general, dharmaḥ religious affiliation, sa-viśeṣaḥ specific, cha also, yādṛśaḥ as they are, śreṇīnāṁ of the particular three classes, rājarṣīṇām of the saintly royal order, cha also, dharmaḥ occupational duty, kṛcchreṣu in the matter of distressed conditions, jīvatām of the living beings. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. Purport. The common religion of all classes of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be, is devotional service. Even the animals may be included in devotional service to the Lord, and the best example is set by Śrī Vajrāṅgajī or Hanumān, the great devotee of Lord Śrī Rāma. As we have already discussed, even the aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of a genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Purāṇa, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of the Lord by the guidance of Śrī Nārada Muni. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord can be equally shared by every living being. Religious affiliation in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not the common religion of the human being. Rather, the basic principle is devotional service. Even if a particular type of religious principle does not recognize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of a religious sect is never the supreme leader, because such a circumstantial leader comes to the position of leadership after undergoing some penance. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not, however, require to be under disciplinary action to become leader, as we see in the activities of Lord Krishna. The occupational duties of the castes and the orders of society, following the principles of livelihood, also depend on the principle of devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by awarding the results of his occupational duty unto the devotional service of the Lord. People following the principles of devotional service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be any question of apadharma or religion in distress. As will be explained in this book by the greatest authority, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, there is no religion save and except the devotional service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Śrī Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Śrī Vishakhanvatamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Nitinamine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakata Damadaya Nagragramatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Gopi Paranadana Dase Itinamine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubi Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram yat kripatamaham bande Shri Guruntaranam kripatamaham bande Paramanandamadhum Shri Caitanya Ishwaram Katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet Vismrite viparitam syat Shri Caitanyam namamitam. So here we are continuing with questions by King Parikshit to Shukadeva Goswami. Srila Prabhupada, especially his purports to the first canto, the second canto, they're very dense in the sense that a lot can be unpacked from these purports. So here, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes the commonness of devotional service for all classes of living beings, not just the humans, he says even for the animals. So because devotional service is in direct relation to the soul, and therefore it is independent of whatever state of conditioning one may be in. However, in order to make progress smooth in Krishna consciousness, generally it is recommended that one perform one's activities according to one's psychophysical nature. So the scientific system for that is the varnashrama system, where society is organized according to the psychophysical nature of the human beings. So you have those who are in the mode of goodness, the brahmanas, then you have those who are in the mode of goodness and passion mixed, then you have, that is the kshatriyas, then you have passion and ignorance, you have the vaishyas, then you have ignorance predominantly, that's the shudras. So each is progressively higher. The beauty of devotional service is that one can take it up from any stage of life. It is not that one has to have any specific qualification to take up bhakti. One does not have to have any qualification. In fact, that is the beauty of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he gave this devotional service, traditionally, he gave this devotional service independent of one's status of life. Traditionally, what would happen is that each people in each status of life, they practice devotional service and gradually they progress Shudra to Vaishya to Brahmana, to Kshatriya to Brahmana, slowly they progress, and from Brahmana to Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava. So, and that usually takes many lifetimes. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, and he, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, he has broken open the dam of love of Godhead. So what does this mean? So how is it that in the past ages one was not eligible, and in this age everybody is eligible? In the past there were considerations, but in this age there is no considerations. Yes. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process is unique to once in a day of Brahma. The Lord can do whatever He desires to do. He is the supremely independent Lord. So therefore, the process of bhakti has become accessible to everyone, independent of one's status of life. So then we find that devotees are also at different levels. Everybody is not progressing equally. We find so many different things. So how do we account for this? Are we supposed to be situated in the particular station of life that we are in and practice? And is it still the same old thing but is just being disguised as something else? I mean, is being said that it's something else? What is actually happening? Will it take many lifetimes? What exactly is happening? Prabhupada gives the secret to this. In the preface to the Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So material life is characterized by hankering and lamentation. Hankering and lamentation. What do we hanker for and what do we lament for? So how does this hankering and lamentation start? Because we see ourselves in relationship with other members of society. So if someone else in society has something, then we hanker to have the same thing. Similarly, whatever we have, when we compare that in relation to the society, we think, oh, this is a good thing, so we are afraid of losing it. Right? So hankering and lamentation is based on comparing oneself with what is happening with others in society. Now when we take to the process of Krishna consciousness, we should be careful, because we can transplant this mentality even in devotional service, and that is the cause for all the problems. So for example, once we come to devotional service, we can always hanker, oh, how I wish if I could be in this position, how I wish if I could be in this situation. And we may also lament, oh, if I had, I don't have this facility, I don't have that facility, the devotees whom I'm dealing with are not so good. So look at the other devotees, so they have everything very nice, so they're able to practice very nicely. So like this, we could carry forward that mentality from material consciousness into spiritual consciousness without realizing that this is the actual obstacle. So Prabhupada says that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower, which means that whatever situation that we are placed in, we take that as the mercy of the Lord. If we understand that the situation that I am in has been fine-tuned by Krishna to be perfect. This is the perfect situation for me. It couldn't be better than this. It couldn't be worse, it couldn't be better. So if the moment we come to that understanding, if the moment we practice Krishna consciousness with that attitude, then our progress becomes very swift. This is the attitude of pure devotion service that is exhibited even by the great exalted personalities. For example, Uddhava. So when Krishna leaves the planet, before he leaves the planet, he tells Uddhava, please go to Badrikashram, because during Krishna's physical presence on the planet, the sages of Badrikashram couldn't get his association. So he tells Uddhava, you are as good as me, as pure as me. So please go there and give them your association. Now Uddhava was someone, we know how he prayed, may I become a creeper on the outskirts of Vrindavan. So that was Uddhava. He had that great desire after seeing the exalted nature of the residents of Vrindavan, their love for Krishna. He was so overwhelmed by that love that he said, may I become a creeper on the outskirts of Vrindavan, so that when the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan walk, they trample me under their foot. The same Uddhava, when Krishna tells him that please go to Badrikashram, he doesn't think, oh my God, Badrikashram, how nice it would be if I'd go to Vrindavan. So although he had great appreciation for the residents of Vrindavan, and although he had that hankering to be a creeper on the outskirts of Vrindavan, but when Krishna asked him to go to Badrikashram, he took that as his life and soul. So that is the nature. So what we learn from a pure devotee, that whatever Krishna wants, a pure devotee is fully satisfied with whatever Krishna wants him to do, or him or her to do. So likewise, in our life, we should be fully satisfied with the fact, whatever situation that we are in, this Krishna has placed me in that situation. So if we take that attitude, then we can see that our progress in devotional service becomes very quick. So when we see an advanced devotee, we are not thinking, I think it was Hema Gopi Mataji who gave a class quoting Radheshyam Prabhu. Radheshyam Prabhu is here in today's class. So I think you can correct me if I'm not saying it right, that someone asked you that, Prabhu, if I want to be a brahmachari, can I become like Amogalila Prabhu or Gaur Gopal Prabhu or something like that? Otherwise it's useless to be a brahmachari. Was that right? Something like that? Okay. So Prabhu explained, this is not the purpose of joining the brahmachari ashram. So like that, when we take to devotional service, we are not meant to transfer all the material desires that we had into the practice of devotional service. So that can happen only when we start reading Prabhupada's books. Then we see the superior position of pure devotional service than all these hankerings. And then we become attracted to that. Therefore, bhakti has to be always practiced with proper knowledge. Otherwise, it becomes sahajism and it could become materially contaminated with all kinds of desires. It is the knowledge that comes, this is not jnana. In fact, this is not jnana. This is not a function of the mind. This is chit shakti, because the soul by nature is sat, chit and ananda. So the bhakti shastras, they are a manifestation of the chit shakti of the Lord. So when we associate with Prabhupada's books, this is not some jnana. This is chit shakti. So when we practice Krishna consciousness in accordance with the bhakti shastras, then we are properly situated. Otherwise, we can get into sahajism, or we may get trapped with material consciousness and overcoated with some bhakti. It is only the Bhaktivedanta purport, so the bhakti shastras, which can keep us always in track in pure devotional service. So whatever situation that one may be in, so one may find that, okay, there are sannyasis, I'm a grihastha or I'm a brahmachari, why can't I be like him? That's not the purpose of devotional service. Okay, I'm like this, whatever the situation may be, in whatever situation that I am, let me act very responsibly, let me try to please the Lord in whatever situation that I am in. Ata pumbir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha swanishitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. This is from the first canto of Bhagavatam. And this is what Prabhupada is speaking about in this purport here. That whatever situation that one may be in one's life, if one practices devotional service, then one is sure of progress, very rapid progress, if one has the proper attitude. So we should not try to externally change our situations. Whatever situation that is, Krishna has provided us, we should be very content with that. And being content is the right attitude. Then we can make rapid progress in devotional service. Because whatever plans that we may try to make, it's all kupamanduka nyaya, as Prabhupada says. With our tiny brains, what can we plan? Like Prabhupada would often quote his father, who would say, was it father or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? I don't recollect exactly. But Prabhupada would say, if Krishna wants to give you something, how much can you accept with 2 hands? You need unlimited hands to accept what Krishna can give you. Similarly, if Krishna wants to take away something, how much can you protest with 2 hands? So Krishna is unlimited. Generally, we don't understand what that word unlimited means. So unlimited means unlimited. He can do anything. Whatever we have experienced within our life or millions of lifetimes is very limited. So when we say that we practice bhakti, it is the the Lord personally takes charge. Prabhupada writes this very clearly in the introduction to teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that in the surrendering process there are 6 steps: to accept things favorable, to reject things unfavorable, to have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord, to be exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord, to have complete faith in the Lord's protection, and to always be meek and humble. We may think, oh, this is a very high platform. So only for them, Krishna personally takes charge. What about the others? The moment, as Prabhupada says in a lecture in Melbourne, somebody asks him, how long does it take to surrender to Krishna? Prabhupada says, just a moment. One moment, he says. And then, before the questioner is going to ask something, he cuts him off. Again, he says, one moment, very strongly. Now, which means that it takes one moment for us to make that decision. I want to surrender. And Krishna considers that as the point of surrender. And within surrender, there may be different levels. Like how we, in an educational institution, for example, a school, we have different levels. We have grade 1 or even lower than grade 1, all the way to grade 12. So all of it is called the school. And it is not that a student in grade 1 is a lesser student than grade 12. All of them are legitimate, bona fide students. They're not that this is second class student or 10th class, like low class student. No. All of them are considered as bona fide students. So like that, there are 9 levels until we attain prema. So it's like the nine standards. So whoever makes up their mind, okay, I want to surrender to Krishna. Immediately, they are admitted into the school called pure devotional service. And within the school, there may be somebody who has attained prema bhakti and somebody who has not yet attained it. Therefore, Prabhupada would say, once he was asked this question, that how many pure devotees are there in your movement? So he said, count the number of devotees that we have, all of them are pure devotees. What does it mean? Does it mean everybody that attained pure prema? No. It means that all of them are on the pure devotional line. All of them are in the pure devotional process. And which Prabhupada is emphasizing here, that this is the common occupation for everyone, pure devotional service. So everyone can join the school of pure bhakti, which is ISKCON. It's a school of pure bhakti. And one may be at different levels, but one has the proper attitude, which I spoke about a little earlier, then one can steadily progress from whatever level that one is in to attain prema bhakti. So when Krishna says he takes direct charge, he takes direct charge. Of course, you may, for a pure devotee like, for somebody who has got prema bhakti like Arjuna, he may be a chariot driver, it's like a car driver. We may think, why Krishna is not coming and doing something like that for us? First of all, that's a wrong attitude. But whatever situation that we are going through, it is not due to karma. This is something which we need to understand. That when we take to the process of pure devotional service, there is only Krishna and us. It is not that there is Krishna, there is us and our past karma. No, there is only Krishna and us. So whatever past karma that we have, if there is something which appears like past karma coming to us, it is actually Krishna doing it. Something he is doing it to purify us, to elevate us. Krishna has done some fine tuning there. It is not that Maya is awarding that to us. It's not Mahamaya which is awarding to us. So what is karma and what is Krishna's mercy is determined by who is giving us what. If something is being awarded to us by Maya, Mahamaya, that is called karma. If something is being awarded by Krishna, it is called Krishna's mercy. And Prabhupada said this very clearly, that once when he was going in the car, he bumped his head and there's a small cut. And when he came back to the temple, devotees were shocked, oh, there's a cut on Prabhupada's forehead and there's bleeding. Prabhupada simply said, actually I should have lost my head. But Krishna is so kind that he just gave me a cut. So like that, devotees think like this. In fact, I was reading one joke where it's called positive thinking, So there is a bird which is flying in the sky, and a man is walking under and it poos on the man's head. So normally this is something very disgusting. Oh, bird poo on your head. But this man, he looks at the sky and he thanks God. God, you're so wonderful. You didn't make elephants fly. So the idea is if the elephant had pooed on his head, it would have been much worse. So like that, the devotees, so whatever situation that they may be in, even if it is difficult, we take it as the mercy of the Lord. The moment we do that, Krishna becomes very pleased. Sometimes devotees think, oh, this is so difficult, what is this? But the moment we think, oh, this is Krishna's mercy, the same situation which is difficult suddenly becomes tolerable. It can even become ecstatic depending on one's state of consciousness. That's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he glorifies Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. Which means that if one remembers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then even the most difficult things become very simple. And if one does not remember him, even the most simple things become very difficult. So about a few months ago, just after Gaur Purnima, I was having some problem with my eye and it was giving me a lot of trouble. And I was finding it difficult to be focused in devotional service. Of course, it is a struggle to be, because the thought of the fact that something is wrong was overwhelming me more than the fact that it's Krishna's mercy. So I remember at that point, I asked Jayapatak Maharaj, my spiritual master, that you've gone through a liver transplant, you've gone through a kidney transplant, you've gone through, so many other complicated situations. Somebody has tried to murder you. It's the most, and I've seen him in action for the last several years, especially the last 12 years, very in close action. And I've seen that, the most difficult situations, he's been the same person, So then I asked him, Guru Maharaj, I want to ask you this question. What is the secret of this? How do you manage to do this? Then he said, I simply remember Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda. And so, that moment I heard that, then of course it made a big difference. Although I knew it before, but hearing from someone who is very advanced and who's actually lived it, it makes a big difference. He just matter of factly said, I just remember. In fact, he said, I remember Prabhupada, I remember Lord Caitanya, and I remember Lord Nityananda. Especially, I specifically brought to his attention that there was a video of him before he went to the liver and the kidney transplant. And just before walking, that's like a very dangerous, complicated operation. And just before he was going into, there's a video where he's just, showing like this, showing his two fingers like this and just chanting, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, very enthusiastically. And I know it as a fact, there was one, the Ritvik, senior leader in the Ritvik, among the Ritviks. So when he saw that video, he said that he must be a Strita Prajna, otherwise it's not possible to be like this in this condition of life. Anyway, so the point is that we have living examples. So when we have Prabhupada's own life, like when he went to the Jaladuta and he went through all these difficulties in America. We may think, okay, Prabhupada is no longer physically present. But there are several great devotees who are physically present. I just gave one example. Jayapatak Maharaj, there's Gopal Krishna Maharaj, there are so many other. Even in Mayapur, you have our Shubhangi Mataji, Prabhupada disciple. Amazing, the kind of situation that she is in. Ever enthusiastic. Even now she tries to distribute a book. Never ever complains about a situation. So we have living examples. So from where we can learn that if we accept everything as Krishna's mercy, it's possible to tolerate it. Not only tolerate it, also be ecstatic, even in that condition of life. So we should take Prabhupada's teachings literally, which means that we should not think, oh, this is only for some people, or yeah, this is to encourage us. No, the Bhaktivedanta purports are Prabhupada's personal ecstasy. These are his realizations. So when we come in touch with the Bhaktivedanta purports, we begin to get affected by it. For example, even in the world, there are great, very big physics laboratories, magnetic laboratories, where if you need to enter the magnetic laboratory, you can't have a metal on your finger or on your body for that matter. because your whole, if suppose you have a ring on the finger, the whole finger may get ripped off. Powerful magnetic fields. So like that, the Bhagavatam and the book Bhagavata and the living Bhagavatas, they're all like powerful magnetic fields. So once you come in touch with them, so you become affected by their bhakti shakti. That's why you see Prabhupada during his physical presence, he could inspire devotees to do things which are very difficult to conceive of. Going to a place without any money, staying there, building a whole, starting the whole Krishna consciousness movement. All kinds of amazing, very hard to believe things. How did that happen? Because of Prabhupada's bhakti shakti. Of course, somebody may have bhakti shakti, but if you don't take it up, what's the point? So the disciples also, Prabhupada said, they may not have all the qualifications that is there in the Vedic scriptures, about people who live in India also may have some of those qualifications. But he said they have one qualification. Whatever I say, they listen. So this is, again, Prabhupada emphasizes here in this purport that if we follow the guidance of a pure devotee, then we are in the best possible situation. Because it is the pure devotee which makes the whole difference, that even these occupational duties of the castes and even all that has to be guided by a pure devotee. Without bhakti, just the occupational duties are not going to produce any tangible result. So one particular thing which Prabhupada mentions here in this, which is coming from the text, is also about apadharma. So Prabhupada says that people following the principles of devotional service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be a question of apadharma or religion in distress. What is the significance of this? What does it actually mean? So in the Mahabharata, when Bhishma talks to Maharaj Yudhishthira, his talks can be divided into 3 sections. Section 1 is on Rājdharma, means what to do, how a king should rule the kingdom. Then you have apadharma. Apadharma means you have dharma, normal dharma, and then you have dharma which is performed in certain circumstances. How do you perform dharma when there are complications? And then there are, then he spoke also on moksha dharma. These are the 3 topics which broadly it can be classified into three sections. Now, apadharma, let me give you an example. Like for example, what does a woman do in the Vedic age? What does a woman do when her husband is addicted to sinful activities? So in the Vedic age, the prescription is, okay, she goes and takes shelter of her father or something like that, who is not addicted to sinful activities, and she stays with her father until her husband gets out of those sinful activities. So this is an example of apadharma. So although there is an instruction that a woman should always serve her husband, there is also a prescription of apadharma. If he is addicted to sinful activities, there is certain prescription. So like that, the principles of religion, there are many such considerations. So the whole point is that if one does not act according to the principles of dharma, in the sense that one has to be very conscious, do this, do that, do that, do this. It's a very intricate system. Dharmic system is very intricate, and you have to really, follow every single thing. Only then one can progress in the next lifetime. It's a very intricate system, So here, in the sense that never put into apadharma refers to the fact that devotees do not have to concern themselves in terms of the dharma, apadharma, and all those, preoccupied with those kind of things. A devotee should be preoccupied with pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Of course, this is not a license for committing adharma. We are talking about apadharma. We are not talking about adharma here actually. Apadharma means what is to be done in situations which are complicated, which a pure devotee is there to give guidance. So, because the problem with apadharma is that you need some wise people to figure out what is the... So, first of all, there is dharma. That's why in the Mahabharata, Krishna speaks about dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajanayana katasa panta, because religious principles are not so easy to figure out everything. You need wise people, And then you have exceptions to that, how to act, and so you need very learned people for all that. But whereas the principle of devotional service is far more simple. You just need to follow the authority of the pure devotee. That's all. One does not have to get into this whole complexity of dharma, apadharma, and things like that. Of course, that does not mean we can commit adharma. Like sometimes devotees have this misconception that now we are in pure devotional service, we have transcended everything. So, like for example, sarva dharman paritejya mamekam. So we have transcended all dharma. But the problem is that without, first of all, in devotional service, we have to transcend sarva adharman, we have to transcend first of all. We have to come to the platform sarva adharman to be able to become sarva dharman. It's not the other way around. So we have to be very careful that first of all, we have to give out sinful activities to be situated in dharma. I mean, we should not perform devotional service, we cannot perform sinful activities in devotional service and say everything is fine. First of all, we cannot perform sinful activities. Then we go even beyond religious activities into pure devotional service. What does it mean? For example, that Prabhupada himself exemplified it. Somebody may be an administrator. Okay, he may be performing the duty of administrator. But if it needs, the temple is not clean, like Jayananda Prabhu, he would do everything. He would build a cart, he would clean the temple. So what is the consideration there? The consideration is not that, okay, I am an administrator or I am something, I should only that activity. No. Whatever is needed for the devotional service of the Lord, that is what is supposed to be done. So when we say pure devotional service is transcendental, it is transcendental to these dharmic considerations of I should perform this occupation only, I should do only this. It is not referring to sinful activity. Oh, you can commit sinful activity also, we can perform devotional service active also. That means it is sahajya. That means we have not read Prabhupada's books carefully. So nowhere does Prabhupada sanction committing sinful activity and also performing pure devotional service. He says, okay, somebody may fall down, but one has to regret and lament about it and again back to devotional service. So he's not giving a license for sinful activity. But whereas when it comes to occupational duties, one has to do whatever is necessary for the service of the Lord. For example, in the days that I joined Krishna consciousness, Radhesham Prabhu may remember those days, that he may still be doing it, that when somebody joins the temple, especially if they are highly educated, the place where I come from, Bangalore, so they would be given only 6 months of cleaning the temple room and cleaning the toilets. That's it. So that the pride of education, the pride of material position, all that vanishes and one realizes that devotional service is absolute. That cleaning the temple is as good as working in the temple, working on a computer or as good as distributing books, or similarly cleaning the bathrooms is as good as distributing books. Every activity in devotional service is absolute. I don't know if these things happen anymore these days, but because there's a strong tendency these days, people say, no, I need to do what I like, I need to do what I like. There is that whole emphasis of what is this, otherwise it doesn't look fair. How can I be inspired? How can I be encouraged, unless I get to do right from the beginning what I like. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself had that strategy of when some senior IAS officer, at that time IAS officer kind of person came, said, wash the pots. You can learn. Similarly, he would send these educated people to one of the, gardener, one of his disciples. So learn pure devotion service from him. So this is the meaning of when it says Sarva Dharma Pariteja, means we do whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. But everybody may not be on the platform. Everybody may not be on the platform. Therefore, what to do? Until we come to that platform, okay, we continue to do what we are doing. And the spiritual master is pleased with that. Prabhupada is pleased with that. Therefore, actually, if you notice, Prabhupada, he actually translates Karma Yoga as, he translates Karma Yoga as devotional service itself. Devotional service in action, he says. So what does it mean? Is Prabhupada creating some new category? Like sometimes people may think, what is this? Karma Yoga is different. Bhakti Yoga is different. Why is he equating the two? What actually he's doing is that in Karma Yoga, basically he's trying to say that, okay, whatever occupational duty you are in, fine. Do that under the direction of the spiritual master. But come to a stage, both are Krishna consciousness, come to a stage where you are able to do whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. That's technically what is Bhakti Yoga. Means you are just doing whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. But both of them are Krishna consciousness. Karma Yoga is also Krishna consciousness. Bhakti Yoga is also Krishna consciousness. But it's only a question of gradation. It's only a question of gradation. Bhakti Yoga, you could say technically is higher. But at the same time, Prabhupada did not call devotees karma yogis. He said people who are practicing devotional service, Krishna consciousness. So that has to be understood, because classically in karma yoga, the emphasis was on the psychophysical nature. Emphasis is not on bhakti. Here, the emphasis is not on psychophysical nature. Emphasis is on bhakti. But one is not able to overcome one's psychophysical nature and do whatever it takes. So one is engaged according to the direction of the spiritual master, according to the direction of superior authorities, and therefore it is called action in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so these are some thoughts which came to my mind when I read this purport, which I wanted to share. So I'll stop here. If there are any comments, especially you have venerable Vaishnavas like Radheshyam Prabhu here and other proper disciples. So if anyone has any comments, or if someone has some question, I can. Mic's not working. Maybe you can speak loudly and I'll repeat it. Okay, let him just speak. I'll just repeat the question. Yes. Okay. Good point, actually, very good question. The question is that I was saying that whether a student is in grade 1 or grade 12, everyone is the same, but in what sense are they the same? So Prabhupada gave the example of the green mango and the ripe mango. Both of them are mangoes. In that sense, they are same. But one is green, one is ripe. So in the stage of ripening, there are different stages. So they are same in the sense that they are mango, they are not something else. But one has to become a ripe mango. A neophyte devotee, he's saying that a neophyte devotee may take millions of lifetimes to reach prema.
We do offer based on
the
advancement in devotional service. So, of course, we would, and the determining factor would be like their sincerity and their commitment to devotional service. We just don't consider just because we are all people, we are all the same.
Yeah, we don't yes, there is a difference in the way we deal with them. Just like even in the school, how the teachers deal with the first standard child is different from how they deal with somebody in grade 12. But they don't, I don't know how to put it. What I'm saying is that we don't look down upon devotees based on the stage that they are. Just like the teachers. They don't say, oh, he's a first standard, he's low class. They don't think like that. I mean, there is a certain, there's an acknowledgement of the fact that this child has joined school, this child can progress too, and there's encouragement. So in that sense, they're all considered as students. It's not like higher students, lesser students. There's no category like that. Although there are grades, but they're not treated as, in the sense that, there's no discrimination in treating them. That's what I mean. At the same time, when we see a pure devotee, let's say we see someone in the stage of prema, it says that one should seek their association constantly and get benefited from their association and follow them. So all the lower grades of pure devotees are supposed to follow their higher grades, and that way we are progressing together. Like this is an international society, so we're all progressing together. But we need to constantly take the association of superior Vaishnavas. Yeah. Yes. They need to be treated differently. Yes. Like for example, you have a pure devotee, somebody that in love of God, and you're supposed to give them a special seat and treat them differently, definitely. I mean, in that sense, yes. Yeah. More respect is offered, but no disrespect is offered to anyone. That's what is my point. Yeah. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
The Varnashrama Dharma you're speaking about, the perfection of it, the perfection of that Varnashrama, is it like something similar to like the spiritual world? What was happening there?
The perfection of Varnashram Dharma, is it something similar to the spiritual world? In the material world, you mean? Or?
Sorry?
You mean, is like the spiritual world in the material world? Is that it?
The system of the Varnashrama, the organization, everybody acting for, will it be like a reflection of what is happening in the spiritual world?
Is it a reflection of what is happening in the spiritual world? In the sense that, I mean, it is in the sense that, I mean, okay, let me be careful here. Like you have, in the spiritual world also, you have kings, like for example in Mathura, like you have these categories, but they're just meant for giving the Lord pleasure. But here it is meant for, meant for one's spiritual advancement. They're already perfect. So there is just a pastime of the Lord, just to enhance His pleasure. But here it is primarily aimed at purification of the living beings. Also in the process it gives the Lord pleasure also. But it's not primarily designed for, I mean there it's just pleasure. But here it is both, it's primarily the purification of the living entities, which also gives pleasure to the Lord as one progresses.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, sure.
The spiritual world,
yes, ma'am.
Is it a physical place or is it a state of consciousness?
Oh, very good question. Is the spiritual world a physical place or is it a state of consciousness? It is a physical place in the sense that, see, finer than gross is subtle, and finer than the subtle is spiritual. You know, so it is a state of, for example, Brahma. He does not have a gross body at all. He has a spiritual body. So, but he is a person, he is a tangible being. So like that, the spiritual world is also tangible. It exists. But the existence of such a world we don't have any idea about, except when we dream something. That's like, when we dream, it is like, but as Prabhupada said, there's no difference between a daydream and a night dream, actually speaking, because that is a subtle platform, this is the gross platform. There you're identifying with the subtle platform, here we are identifying with the gross platform. So both of them are existent platforms. It's only a question of what we are identifying with. Now the soul in this body is identifying with this gross body. In the dreams, it is identifying with the subtle body. That's all. So these exist, but they are finer than, they are not gross as we imagine it. So they do physically exist, but in a finer state of existence.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vijay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vijay.
Sorry, I have small questions. I like the point, like when you enter ISKCON initially, they give cleaning and that things. So how to get that more opportunities so that, because to do Dasadida Seva, so that because as we are connected to the material also, so it every day it comes up and down like a, like sea waves.
Yeah.
So how to do more and how to get more inspired so that we'll get more bhakti.
The surest way to feel inspired is to read Prabhupada's books every day. That will keep your, like Gopal Krishna Maharaj gives the example, like a knife, if you don't sharpen it every day, or whatever, if you don't keep it sharpened, then it cannot cut. So sometimes you may have some knowledge, but when you are faced with a situation by Maya, I mean, I'm not just you, anybody, even me, when we are faced with a situation by Maya, then we may not have this thing to cut through that situation. Therefore, we need to be constantly in touch with Prabhupada's books, because that gives us this thing, sharpness to cut through illusion. That's the primary, this thing for all, common religion for all ISKCON members, that we should all read Prabhupada's books every day. And try, like recently in the Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disappearance ceremony, there's one devotee who said that when Prabhupada Lilamrita came out, Bhakti Charu Maharaj started reading the Leelamrita during Srimad Bhagavatam time. So he went and inquired from Maharaj that how is it that you're reading this during the Bhagavatam time? Then he said that there are two things, the book Bhagavata and person Bhagavata. And he said the person's Bhagavata's activities are non-different from the book Bhagavata. So we need to not only associate with the book Bhagavata, we also need to associate with person's Bhagavata. It does not necessarily mean only somebody who's attained love of Godhead. It could mean anyone who's advanced. So these two characteristics are important. Okay. Generally, advancement is also manifest externally. They're enthusiastic. Rupa Goswami speaks about all these things. They were generally enthusiastic people. They're happy people. They're not in the modes. They're not lamenting. And of course, see, we may go through, like when we practice Krishna consciousness, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur speaks about it. We may go through up and downs, but we should still continue to do what we are supposed to do. When we are feeling high, we do a lot of things. When we're feeling low, we don't do. Therefore, it is called sadhana bhakti, which means whether you like it, don't like it, feel good, not feel good, we should perform it. And once we do it, then we come to the stage of liking it, slowly.
Thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Ruji. I think, okay, Rasamaya Nityananda Prabhu is asking me to stop. Should I take this or okay.
Prabhu, you quoted that very important sentence from the preface of Nectar of Instruction. So the advancement is dependent on the,
Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower.
Okay, so how one's attitude is formed?
Okay, that's a good question. What I have seen is that, what I can tell you what my personal experience has been, is that it's come from Prabhupada's books and also from associating with devotees who have that attitude. Because you generally see that devotees who have that attitude of accepting everything as Krishna's mercy, they're generally very blissful and enthusiastic and things, because they take it as Krishna's mercy. So it is a combination of these two things which have helped me. The books plus Prabhupada's own life and the lives of others who have the tendency to, okay, it's Krishna's mercy. Like, I mean, in my personal life, I learned that from my wife actually, that she just takes everything as Krishna's mercy. I mean, I was not so well situated like that. I would sometimes be worried about how did this happen? Why did that happen? But whenever anything happens, the first thing that my wife would say is Krishna's mercy. And I thought, oh wow. I mean, so I thought, okay, this is what Prabhupada means by saying that if you have a good wife, she's an asset for spiritual advancement. So like that, I mean, different people may have different people whom you get inspired by, okay, this is Krishna's mercy, this is Krishna. So when we see more of these people, then we feel inspired also. Yeah, look, how are they able to do it? Look at this devotee. They're taking it as Krishna's mercy. So then we also, it rubs off on us. I mean, apart from reading the books, then we also see these examples in practice, then we feel more relevant.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.